Hi guys, how you doing? Welcome to history. So this would be the announcements area, and this is kind of where everything falls. But I want to draw your attention here. Right up here is the announcements, and I just want to draw your attention right here to this welcome. This video you're looking at is kind of like a welcome to week one type introduction. But in the general, welcome to FAS 320 history of design. I want to take a look at this middle paragraph right here, and it just has to do with the discussion board forums. We're going to be communicating mainly through discussion board, and that's kind of where the lifeblood of the class kind of sits, is into discussion boards. That's where we can tell, what you've been doing, what you've been studying, have you been researching, have you been looking at visual examples, etc. In history, it's really easy to tell, and those of you who have taken history classes before, it's really easy to tell who's been paying attention and who hasn't. So that's why I say our discussion board is kind of like our lifeblood. So really, I'm active in discussion board, and I really want you guys to be as well. One thing I want to talk about discussion board: ask questions, ask for clarification. It really makes discussion board interesting when you ask each other to validate what you have claimed, or the claims you're making, or some of the statements you're making, and really try to tie it all together by asking questions. Really interesting way to keep the discussion board going. I'll accept late posts for grade until the end of the week, but not any later. But technically these are some of the late the late assignment specifications. But I'm pretty good about knowing when, if you're going to be late in an assignment, let me know, and I'm fine with it as long as I see that you're working towards the goal. If you're continuously late, of course, that's not going to work. If you're going to be late on a project and you've been keeping up, and no problem, man, no problem at all. Just let me know. I'm really accommodating as an instructor, so please don't hesitate to approach me for things like that. As long as I see you're working, yeah, absolutely. So that's that. We have your regular announcements, but I just want to jump over to module 1 here. Specifically, actually, I want to jump over here to the couple of things I want you to take a look at. This is the final project guidelines and rubric. We're going to look at that. Then we're also going to take a look at this discussion board, undergrad rubric. So in our discussion boards, take a look at these. And this I grade right off the rubric, folks, right off the rubric. You're not going to see any surprises from me. Sometimes I even use verbiage directly from the cells of the rubric. So, I'm, like I said, no surprises here. You see what you're going to be graded on, so please adhere to that. Otherwise, I would expect to have some deductions. So the point I'm trying to make is stick with your rubrics. I want to go over the final project rubric real quick. And I think one of the things that you really need to do here, and this is part of week 1 learning modules. Let me jump over here. It's like learning modules 1. I want to jump over to week 1 here in our learning module, module 1. Let's open this guy up. You got an overview, you got your learning objectives, your plan at a glance. This reading and resources, this is, again, a lifeblood. This is the nerve center of every class right here. This is what tells you where all the resources are that you're going to be using this week and carrying forth throughout the end of the term. So very, very important that you stay abreast with your reading and resources. Then you have your discussions here. This is our discussion this week. This week is, let's jump over to the discussion board. I want you to see something here. This is discussions and visual analysis. Each discussion board has a really, really complete list of expectations, so to speak. But that's not all. Don't stop there. Go and open that rubric and keep it open right in front of you while you're working on your discussion boards. So, and again, that's this guy right here. This is that discussion board rubric, undergrad. So keep that open while you're working on your discussion boards themselves. Okay, so let's go to that discussion board. This is week 1. And this is your initial post. Now, you're going to choose any design or art or design object and use it and discuss it using the 6 steps outlined in the Art of Seeing Art. And that's that link. That's a great article. You got to read it. It's fantastic. Plus, you can't really complete the assignment without it. So that's pretty important there. Don't forget your response posts. Guys, listen, discussion board, like I said, I'm pretty lenient. I really am. I am more interested than you are, I'm more interested in you learning than I am in checking up on to see if you've been, submitting your work on time. That'll come out. I'll know that. But this is really important that, you follow these response posts. And the reason why is because it all adds to the base knowledge of the class. So the collective, as it were. So and the thing is that you can't really come into a discussion board and respond after the week is over. It just doesn't work like that. You're not contributing. So, do you see what I'm saying? You're not contributing to the group. So therefore, don't expect credit for discussion board response posts that are received after the week closes. Now, if you miss a discussion board itself, you email me and you say, hey, I missed the discussion board or whatever, for whatever reason, can I make it up? I'm going to probably say, yeah. Conversely, if we're in week 3 and you look at your week 1 grades and say, hey, I think I can do better in week 1 discussion board, can I repost? Of course, I'm going to say absolutely. Okay? The idea is to keep moving forward. All right, I want to jump back in here, and I'm sorry, I'm almost 6 minutes. I want to go over this final project. I want to give you my examples, okay? I'm going to give you some examples here just to get you in the right track. Now, I don't have this whole thing open. Let me just go ahead and bring that down a little bit so that'll fit in here a little bit better. But anyways, you have the final project guidelines and rubric overview. Check the overview. I just want to read this real quick. You will select and curate at least 6 thematically connected works of art to support an identified thesis about a significant cultural issue. You have the opportunity to demonstrate your command of visual analysis and historical research while at the same time expressing your own passions, worldview, or personal interests. Okay, what does this mean? Okay, here you have these bullet points. It's kind of going to demonstrate the following, or demonstrate your mastery in the following. And then you have this prompt. This prompt is really important. This is where I think this is where the rubber hits the road right here, folks. This is where you really want to take a look at this. Introduction. So you're going to set the stage. What am I doing? Identify a thesis. Then selected your works of arts, your selected works of art. So basically, you're going to say, okay, this is my thesis. This is what I'm going to say is my worldview opinion, and this is my thesis as it pertains to the art history and the history of art and design. Okay, so that's your thesis. Then you go on and you have your selected works of art. Okay, let me show you an example so this makes sense. All right, I'm going to jump over here, and I have this right here. And what I want to do is just draw your attention to this right here. Okay, this is my example of the final project. All right, my thesis is this. The objectification, and please, you can't use this, guys. This is an example. It's a really obvious one, so try not to be so obvious in yours, but this is a great example of what I would expect for this assignment. The objectification of women has historically been a recurring dialogue in art and design. Okay? Then I'm going to say my selected works of art to back this up. I've got from the Paleolithic ancestors created numerous depictions of women in their pottery and sculpture. Okay, that's one. And over here you have the different parameters of the work. For example, you have selects a minimum of 6 works of art. You have to use 6 works of art. They have to use go through the rubric and take a look at these to see what's expected. But in mine, I've got my 5 different periods of art, including contemporary. All right, I've got my 5 different mediums. Okay, so I've got pottery and sculpture, Paleolithic, use of women in their depictions of women in their pottery and sculpture. We go to painting, late 1800s, Picasso's nudes, objectification of women. Okay, then we go to art, roughly the same period of time. Whoops, I want to do that. Roughly the same period of time in Art Nouveau. Chromolithography. Lithography would be the medium, Art Nouveau. And Art Nouveau is all about the objectification of women. So that one should be obvious. Move into the 60s. Let's move into the 60s. We see in film, 1960s beach movies. I'm sure that's pretty obvious right there. And then I'm going to go back in the same period and all the way up to contemporary with installation art and using the Guerrilla Girls and anti-objectification as a way to round out the discussion. The presentation or the curating this objective here. All right. So then you would come in here. Now I've got of those I've got my introduction, my thesis, my selected works of art. Then it's just a matter of going through this. Okay, it's just a matter of going through the project assignment guidelines and thesis. rubric. I'm sorry, the assignment guidelines rubric to establish your thesis. Okay, enough said there. That's the final project. Just want to introduce it. I don't want to go too far with that, but please, any questions, please post them right over here in general questions. You can go ahead. I'm there every day, and so that's where our general questions go. That's where, instead of emailing me, put your questions here, because there's a real good chance that somebody else in the class has the same question. So might as well answer it and have everyone in the class benefit from the answer and the question, correct? All right, I'm over 10 minutes. Didn't want to do that, but that's the introduction, and welcome to week 1, and welcome to your introduction to the final and the discussion board for this week, and your resources and research and resources folder. All right, and I will see you guys in discussion board. Thank you very much.